can't find gluten-free French fried onions, today I'm going to solve that problem for you, and it's almost as easy as just opening that can. The prep only takes a few minutes of hands-on time, and you can make them ahead. Really, you have nothing to lose here. So let's make the recipe. First, your onion, you want a sweet Vidalia onion. Just get one large one. And to slice it, we're just gonna slice off the ends, slice it down the middle, and then you just wanna do real thin slices here. So these are kind of like a haystack style onion. Now, if you wanted to use this recipe for a thicker onion ring, you can slice them in bigger slices, and then you might have to cook it in the oil for a couple minutes longer too. And then we're just gonna transfer these to a bowl. So to this, I'm going to add about 1.5 cups of buttermilk, and this is going to sit for about 10 minutes. You can do it even up to 30 minutes. And I'm gonna separate the onions here. And what this does, well, it does a couple things. First of all, it mellows the onion taste out. These have a really short cook time, so you don't want to just taste like a real strong raw onion taste in it. So the buttermilk helps mellow that out. And then the other thing it does is it gives something for the coating that we're gonna put on to stick to. Now, while this is sitting, I would recommend going ahead and starting your oil heating up. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes to reach the temperature that you want, which is 350. Okay, for the coating, it all comes together in a bag. It's super easy. You have some options here. This is 6 tablespoons of gluten-free flour, which originally is what the recipe is published with. Now, yesterday I did a little stunt double of this recipe, and I wanted to experiment with white rice flour. It turned out really well. So at the end of us cooking these, we'll compare the two and see which one turns out better. So either works, gluten-free flour or white rice flour. And then to that, the rest of the seasonings is simple. Just 1/2 teaspoon of seasoned salt. Go ahead and read your seasoned salt to make sure it's safe for a gluten-free diet. It doesn't have anything sketchy in there. 1/8 teaspoon of pepper. Now you could add some other things to here too. You could do a little garlic powder or onion powder, or a little cayenne pepper would be good too, but I just keep it simple here because mostly I'm using these for green bean casserole, and we just want that crunchy topping. So just shake that to combine. After these have sat for about 10 to 30 minutes, you just take them out of this bowl. I have a couple of sheets on a baking sheet, and I'm just going to put them on here just for a second to drain the liquid off. When these are on the baking sheet, I just go through the onions and just make sure they're all separated, because you want the coating to coat each one. The last step of prepping the onions is just shaking them all in this bag. So just transfer them all over. And then just close the bag up. Make sure it's closed, because I have made that mistake before. And then just shake everything. When you're frying the onions, I like to do them in batches of about 3 to 4. And then just use a wire skimmer to kind of move them around. They'll cook for about 3 to 4 minutes. You don't want to put too many in at once, because it'll bring down the temperature of the oil. And if the temperature of the oil is too low, then that's when your onions will get greasy instead of crisp. My oil temperature has gone down a little bit, so I'm just gonna bump up the heat a tiny bit. That's just because the cold onions have been in there. And then the type of pan you use is also really important. You want a heavy skillet. The reason why you want a heavy skillet is because then it maintains the heat really well. You don't have hot spots, and it keeps that consistent temperature. So you could use, I have a stainless steel pan that sometimes I use, but if you don't have that, a cast iron skillet works great as well. So that's it. It is super easy to do, and I'll tell you honestly, the hardest part about this recipe is when I'm cooking them, I'm like constantly eating them. So you just have to control yourself so you actually have some to put them on your green bean casserole, or I do them like burger toppings. They could be sides for chilies. Try to contain yourself. So here's our completed, this is with all the gluten-free flour. This one is with the white rice flour. The color I feel like is about the same. The only thing I would say is different is this has like almost like an airier coating on it. It's just a little bit more lighter and crispy, where you can see the coating kind of is more just straight on to the onions. So if I had to choose one over the other, I would probably do just gluten-free flour, or I would do a mixture of both. Now, when you're storing these, so after they've cooled completely, what I do is I just store them like this in a glass container with a good airtight seal on it. They will stay good for 2 to 3 days. I would say 2 is your max, 3 is pushing it. But if you do push it and they start to get a little bit softer after storing, then you can just lay them on a cookie sheet without the paper towels, obviously. Put them in an air fryer, about a 340 air fryer for about 3 to 4 minutes, or in an oven, a 350 oven for about 5 minutes, and they will just crisp right up again. So you would do this right before using them. I will link to my green bean casserole below as well, because if you want an old school green bean casserole like the one you grew up on, and you need some legit onions to put on top, this is what you do. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.